Well, hey there. Hi. Hello. It's good to see you. Good to see your beautiful face. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I am so excited. I'm pumped to be here. I'm so glad to have you here. And I'm so glad to have all of these beautiful faces. I don't know what the framing is, but all of these faces around me. I'm so happy that we're going to be having an amazing conversation. But before that, thank you for tuning in to Roll D5. Roll D5 is a channel that celebrates the indie artists, creators, developers, the smaller voices, and especially the marginalized voices within the TTRPG community. And so we are doing exactly that tonight as you see this beautifully melanated screen of all different types of folks on your screen, right? That's walking the walk, baby. That's walking the walk. But before we dive into our interview tonight, which I am excited for, I wanted to introduce these beautiful people. And I'll first start with what I will say is my fantastic, nay, effervescent co-host.
Oh shit, he loves me today. He loves me today. Oh my God. Hi everybody, I am Queon. I go by Brother Queon across all the internets, and I am so happy to be here today. Last time we did this, somebody said I was a elementary school teacher, or like I have the disgruntled energy of a teacher. Either way,
I said you had the disgruntled energy of a burned out English teacher, and I would appreciate the correct quotes. Thank you.
Well, excuse me. Anyway, but I am so happy to be here, and I think we were going to go ahead and alley-oop it over to Zoup.
Hi, everybody. I'm Zoup. I am super excited to be here. You can find me as a Zoup Machine everywhere. Luckily, Instagram has not taken down my personal account. Only the Convention Zero account. We'll figure that out. But I am here as the confounder of what we're calling Convention Zero.
Wait, that's what I am slow. I may not be a disgruntled burnout teacher, but confounder, y'all get it? Y'all see what they did there?
Oh, I literally didn't until you just pointed out, and now I'm like, Esco Spice. Yes, Esco flavor. Amazing.
And I have brought Mia along with me. Mia.
Hi, I'm Mia, she, her, one of the admins on Con Zero, so happy to be here.
Yay.
Happy to have you. Mia, one quick thing. So this is something that I kind of want people to start doing when they come onto Roll Detox. This is also for you, Zoup. I'm so sorry. Y'all have a minute to talk y'all shit. Ooh. You have to talk your shit. You have to tell us who you are, what you've done, your accolades, all of that. Because Mia, I'm not letting you just like, hey, I'm Mia. I'm just an admin. Yeah, you are far more than that. And because I've seen the bio, I've seen the work. Where have people seen you? Where have people heard about you?
Oh,
it doesn't have to be an actual minute, but it's,
Okay, yeah, I don't think I can fill a minute, but I'll do my best. Digital artist, performer for APs and such. You've probably seen me on Game Master Monday, TTN, Streaming Rainbow, Heart as a Dungeon. So been around town a little bit and meeting some really cool folks like y'all. And maybe in the future something for Roll D5. We'll see.
Oh, now wait a minute now.
Spice.
We love a good mystery.
We love a little spice here.
Zoup.
Oh, okay. I'm Zoup. I've been streaming since maybe since the pandemic started or before the pandemic started. But right now my accolades I think are I am co-GM on Game Master Monday. Which is a great podcast featuring a new cast playing a new game almost every episode. Sometimes we have mini-series. We do love our mini-series. I am a co-talking head with Natural One and Misfit Playland. Misfit Playland, I think.
Misfit, we know. The homies.
Yeah.
I think there's two people by the by both
There
names, though.
are two.
Well, there's Misfit Tabletop, which is something different. You're talking
Yeah.
about the other Misfit, right?
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
And we do Too Legit to Crit, which is every Sunday. We get together and talk for an hour about TTRPGs, just various things in TTRPGs. And I think starting in January, we're going to be doing over on Imagine If, which is Shannon's channel. We're going to be doing Queer and Quozy, which is gonna be as the name suggests, queer and cozy. And other than that, I would say my accolade is I was a 2023 Crit
Let's
Award
go.
nominated for
Fucking
indie
slay.
player.
Better fucking slay.
I don't know. I
Awesome.
don't know how it happened. I think Ivy saw
Hard
like
work,
something I was
perseverance,
in
talent,
one time.
presence.
Like, come on, what are you talking about?
Amazing.
The reason
We
why
love
we
to
do
see
all
it.
of these is so you can sit here and be like, oh yeah, this is all the things I've done. And so we can gas you up. The reason why you Zoup, I don't know if you remember this, but we played in a game of Castaway.
Yes.
You may or may not have left that game earlier. Also, if you guys have not seen Castaway over on Game Master Mondays, please check it out. It's phenomenal. Grant pulled together some amazing strings. But Zoup was in it, and you'll find out how, but they haunted the narrative the entire time. Like,
Over on Imagine If, where
that's not something just like you can't just do that. It's because you make very reason why you have what you have. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Get absolutely loved on. Get
Yeah.
absolutely adored on.
Oh
Yeah.
Okay.
God! I
Y'all
didn't
don't
know
Take
this
the
was gonna happen.
positive
Yeah,
love.
you don't get to hide in the shadows here. You get to be
Two
front
things
and
really
center.
quickly. One, a little bit of a bump and a plug because I actually will be starring in Queer and Cozy as well. And Zoup, I'm excited to
Yes.
play with you. I'll be main casting that baby. You can't get rid of me. I'm in that thing now.
I'll stay in the closet and just watch from the shadows. Don't worry.
No, Queon, come out of the closet. We've discussed this. Stand proud, stand loud. Okay.
Hey.
Okay. And then second, the other thing that I want to go over is I have a question that is just like burning in me, and I'm realizing as Queon framed that we're like giving the folks that come on kind of like a question and answer. I want to know what your favorite character that you have portrayed in an actual play is.
Okay.
In all of your body of work, what is the best role that you have had, and then walk us through why. And if you need time to think about it, or if you don't have one in the pods, I can pick on Queon and make Queon do it.
Oh,
So
I definitely have one.
Zoup.
This is okay.
Wow.
There are many characters that I have loved. There is Happy Single. There is
Happy Single.
yeah. So Happy
What's her name?
in India, a lot of some people name their children like common English words. So like Venus or Happy or things like that. So a lot of kids in India will have like English words for names. So and I watched a movie where there was a woman named Happy, and it's the translation is Happy Runs. And it's about this girl who's running away from an arranged marriage. And then Singhal, which is Sighal, or Singhal, is a common last name in India. And I thought that was a really, really funny name for a girl who just wanted to start dating somebody.
Oh, honey.
I
Oh,
love that.
precious.
So I've loved her. There's so many. There is an upcoming meaning. I don't think it's coming out for another year. Character that I played that I really loved, but the character I love more than anyone is Purvi Patel, and it is because it is very personal. So I played her for one season of Superhero High, and basically I think it was the first game where I was playing it in like a realistic world instead of like D&D or Exalted or something like that, like you know, magical realism where it's like our world but superheroes. And getting to play like a teenager who she is like the exact opposite of me, not so smart but just like full of confidence and just like no problem with things, like doesn't get like, oh no, like what if they don't like me or anything like that, just like so full of confidence. But honestly, the real reason I love her is because she crushed on another character pretty much the entire, like the second half of the game. And after the game, so, and he was about to ask her out, but the game stopped. Like we finished the year, so it finished with him like telling his mother, I have to go talk to somebody, because he was gonna ask her out. And then I said, okay, I really like the guy who plays JC, but that's probably Bleed, so I'm not gonna say anything. And waited an entire year, and I'm like, I still like this guy, so I guess I'm gonna say something. And so now we have, like, I have, you know, they JC and Porvy exist as kind of like our alter egos, and I have written fan fiction about the two of them together and everything. So she's my favorite for that reason.
Oh, that's
love to see it. That
like,
is very. It's the way that you just like so many different areas of my brain just lit up there. And fascinating. You're a very interesting person, Zoup.
Zoup is phenomenal. Like
just from that there are so many things where if this wasn't like a live interview that we're doing right now, I would pull on like conversation.
Yeah, like so much.
But thus,
Mia, you're up, Pokey.
Oh gosh. So there two characters came up in my head, but I don't think I can talk about them because they haven't released yet. So that is
Then we gotta dance around it a little bit.
I know I can't. But what I can say, after that, so probably third place would probably be Ollie Sanchez, a character that I played actually where I met Zoup. And we played with a version of Porvy Patel. We were playing monsters and other childish things on TTN. Juicy Garland was the GM. Yes, let's go. And yeah, Ollie Sanchez, we were what, 9-year-olds? 9-year-olds, where we just had monsters that no parents or adults knew about, and our kid monsters would fight each other, and we would beat up bullies and things like that.
Y'all had an underground Pokemon ring?
Pretty much. But there was like this whole, I'm not going to spoil too much because you can go ahead and watch it on YouTube on TTN.
But can Ollie Sanchez please introduce himself?
Oh God, you're gonna make me laugh.
Wait, does Ollie have a voice?
Ollie has a voice. One second.
Oh sorry. No. Let me. I'm totally normal about this.
I'm closing my ears. I want to okay, take me there.
Oh gosh. I'm Ollie Sanchez, and I love Beetleman. Oh God.
Yes.
Your Honor, I will fight for them.
Audience, please check this out. If that didn't just sell you, what the fuck will? Truly.
Hey,
what will?
I love you all so much. Thank you, everything. Can somebody please clip that? Can somebody please clip that? Oh, I need that to live on. Oh my
so
it does.
As is becoming like Roll Detox tradition, I jump out of the bushes and jump scare Queon with a question that I just asked our guests.
How dare
so
you?
Queon, I will direct the same question at you.
You're a menace.
Who is your favorite character that you didn't predict? This is like you'll I think you'll. This is like one of those
I
things.
thought we were past
where,
this time. I didn't know
no, we
had
haven't
to do
even
this.
started, Queon.
Oh,
We haven't even gotten
please.
close to the beginning line, buddy.
If
You know, I'm
all
going to
haven't-
ask you the same question. I'm trying to pick that brain of yours. So
Listen,
tell
it's
us, what is your favorite character and role that you have played, and why? If you have two twins that are your favorite, you can make both of them your favorite kid. That's up to you. But what is, lay it on us.
I don't know. I think my favorite characters I can't talk about yet either.
Yes.
So it's like they're in NDA jail right now. But because I can't talk about Halo. I can't talk about Anya. I can't talk about Seiron.
It's so hard because like there are, because I was gonna say, like, think of a past character that keeps coming to you, but they are all past characters.
Right, they're all like these projects have been recorded and done, or we're into like the second season of things. What? Do you want me to say Soren? Is that what you're doing, Silvia? My God, that's not the truth at all. It's just the fact of like I've played so many characters, and it's the fact it's hard. You want me to pick my favorite child?
Can I take the question and just tweak it a little bit?
Girl, yes.
Who is the first character you played that you on an AP that you truly connected with?
Ooh. Okay. That's better. Okay. Like it's easier. It's easier. I think that would have to be Soren, my little gecko guy, over on Sword and Key. He is the most like kerfuffled. I'm just trying to make things great and make things work for everybody around me. And he's just the sweetest. Like, I've never done anything wrong or seen anything bad in my life. And he's just so pure. And me being somebody who like did not get to like be a kid for super long, it's really nice to see like to play out like what it would have been like if I would have just been able to stay just a kid just a little bit longer and keep that little piece of innocence. And it's very sweet. And I also get to have fun with my friend Shadow Silvia, who plays like the most amazing little gremlin of a rabbit. It's great. Please, if you haven't seen it, it's on Sword and Key. It's phenomenal. I can gush about my characters more in January. I just can't talk about them now.
We'll circle back.
Yes.
I'll remember.
Meanwhile, hey, Aetherius, answer your own question.
Okay, I was thinking about this, right? And it is twins, and they are both my favorite children for different reasons. I think the very first role that I played is one of my favorites. Actually made my actual play debut in the fabulous Crit Award winning Philly by Night as the fabulous and very, very fierce Jean-Pierre. And that's one of my favorites, because it was one of the first things I done. And my like really good friend, Aaron My Laundry, I met through doing that. But beyond that, I think I really got to do some specifically Black storytelling in that realm, particularly, and I had the insane like honor, and I didn't even fully appreciate it at first, just because of like being like relatively like new to the scene. But my sires, I essentially in Philly by Night have two kind of sires. It's like a whole thing, but they're both these like power lesbians. And they are played by Candace the Motherfucking Magnificent and Calamity. And to have them as like my family in that, and I think in particular with Candace, who plays my actual sire, like I guess my bio dad is fucking Candace in this. She, before she turned me, was my like long-term talk therapist. And then she murdered me and then turned me. And I loved the horror of that, of like having someone not only have this kind of blood like a kind of power over you, but then they also have all of your psychological nuclear codes. And so when I tell you, Candace took that idea and like it is deliciously World of Darkness. It is so perfect on tone. And that was her first time playing Vampire the Masquerade, like ever. And so Jean-Pierre always has a place in my heart.
About
and then
my
I think
characters
the other role
I
that I loved was Phineas, Rebelborn in Castleton. So if you're unfamiliar with Castleton, it was like this big phenomenon last summer. 120 different D&D players. It was like Hunger Games meets Bridgerton, and I played a little bit of like a Caesar Flickerman of the games, kind of the face, the announcer, and I got to do this really significantly like personally meaningful like love story, just because I had never been able to explore queer love in this lens through this storytelling medium, which I view as like an art form. I've never been able to execute that as an actor. And then even then, I don't really see it, right? Like when I think about the queer couples that I know in actual plays, it's very, very infrequently too masculine presenting like queer people who are in a relationship. And we were the whole cast of Castles, and I think maybe there was one or two of those, which is insane. But yeah, I got to play opposite Arcane Anthems, Wes. And like, it's one of those things that is such like a trite cliche, but you hear actors discuss all the time about how like working with people who are like that deeply talented kind of like unlocks something in you. And I think that like Wes and I really went to the mat. Like we really committed to a like uncomfortably raw couples argument, something where it feels like your friends are and you shouldn't be hearing it, and to bring that
I'm
to
being
the screen.
nosy at this point. Am I interrupting?
No. But yes. Those two I think would be. Phineas was such a great time. I also got to play opposite Savannah, the DI witch, as my younger sister. She played the god of she played the god of fables and storytelling, and I played the god of presentation. But it was fantastic. But yes, I want to switch gears, and I want to talk about the event of the evening, the event of the hour, something that I'm really fascinated in. And Queon and I were discussing this before we started about learning more. So I don't know, Zoup or Mia, which of you wants to kind of discuss a little bit about what Convention Zero is? How did it come about? Give us the basics, help introduce us and chat to it.
Okay, so Convention Zero is basically, every year I've been in this space for a while, although like on much smaller channels, but I would hear about Gen Con every year. And like all of these people that I knew were all talking about how excited they are to go to Gen Con. People would be preparing for Gen Con for like months in advance, and then it'd be like that whole period of time was blocked off. They were totally busy. And after having come and like becoming co-GM with Game Master Monday and like starting to really explore more of who and what is in the space, I again, Gen Con was coming upon us, and I was like, oh, I'm missing out again, and everyone's talking about going, and I was like, what about for the people who can't get to Indie? Like, what about for the people who, whether it's cost is like a big thing for people, the ability to take the time off. There's a lot of people who are immunocompromised, who that's not an option for, or other kinds of disabled, if they're out of the country. There's so many people who don't get to go. And it was like, what if we could have, we obviously can't have like that late night, we're all in a hotel room, like drinking beers and eating pizza together, talking about something. But what if we could have something similar? online, where at least we could have some panels, we could have some, like, one of the things that I love about PAX East is like getting to sit in and play games, either like new systems that I've never played before, or playing with GMs that I've heard of but haven't met before, and all of that. So what if we made a place like that? And I was like, someone should really do it. And Grant was like, yeah, you should. And I was like, okay. So it started with, okay, we'll do this for the Game Master Monday community. And then I was like, but I want it to be bigger than that. Like, I want to be able to have more people than that. But in the Game Master Monday community, like, I floated the idea. I was like, who would like be interested in coming aboard? And I got a bunch of people who were very interested. And we just, all of a sudden, we were creating the server. Melody did so much work for the server. Like, I really feel like she's the one who started blossoming it by doing all of the work to get the server in place. And I think that galvanized everybody else. And then we were like, okay, how do we get people who want to do panels? How do we get people who want to run games? How do we do all of that? And then we just did like a social media push, and it was one of those snowballing effects where it was just like a couple people, but then every time someone was like, oh, I can't, I'm missing out on Gen Con, you just slide in and be like, well, how about FOMOCon? Because that's what we called it at that time. And we ended up with like almost 350 people on the server at one point. And it went really well. And it went really well for something that had about 3 weeks lead up, where the first week was me just going, anybody want to join this? Like, should we do this? And then like 2 weeks of like really concentrated work. And it's been incredible. But that's the starting of it.
Love that. That's honestly so awe-inspiring, with like, because it came around so quickly. There are so many things that like we have the idea of and it dies off within like seconds. But the simple fact that you guys pulled it off and made it into what it is now, kudos, congratulations. I love this so much. You touched on the fact that the convention was originally called FOMOCon.
Yes.
Can you give us a little bit of why the name changed to Con Zero, and how did you land on Con Zero over FOMOCon in the first place?
So FOMOCon is actually, I think a couple different people have used FOMOCon for different things. We found someone called it FOMOCon, and it was a furry convention. And I've seen a couple other not furry, Freudian slip there. I've seen a couple other FOMOCons in various places, but like, it started with like, oh, we're having the fear of missing out on Gen Con, and then and it's so easy to come off the tongue. And after FOMOCon ended, the people who were like still active in the server, there was a lot of talk about names, and names were just thrown back and forth and back and forth. And it was like, and we were trying to figure out, okay, has this name already been taken for something? We would come up with a great name, and then we'd be like, oh, that's actually an electronics company in South Africa, so we can't do that, or so on and so forth. And we want it to be something that is relatively easy to roll off the tongue. Like FOMOCon is relatively easy. I mean, Convention Zero is a little bit more wordy, but I think the reason, since everyone knows me as Zoup online, people were saying like Zoup Convention or ZoupCon and things like that. And so they were really focused on Z. And we got to Zero, and it was like, no, wait, that's the one, because of the importance of session zeros. I think that every game that we play is made better by having a session 0 where all of the players and the GM get to feel each other out, get to talk about safety and their ideas for how to make something blossom, and respecting each other. That's a big one. So session 0 is all about respecting each other, all about safety, all about creating together, and that's what we want the convention to be. So once that came into the mind, it was obvious.
I love that. One of the things I'm really interested in is the conceptualization of this. I think is fascinating, and I particularly want to get into some of the execution of this, because you're taking a physical event, right, like an IRL thing where people meet in 3 dimensions and all that good stuff, and then trying to translate that convention experience into something that can be experienced remotely, digitally. And so my question to you is twofold to that end. The first part is, when you all were planning and you were looking at the convention experience and planning what was then FOMOCon, it is now Convention Zero or ZeroCon, what were the parts of the convention experience that were really important for you to make sure translated, that you brought from that into this? And then the other would be the converse of that. Were there aspects of convention culture or the convention experience that you were like, I don't want that to come along in translation? Walk us through that.
Mia, do you have any thoughts on this before?
Yeah. That's a good question. I think definitely Zoup, you'll have to take over, but I know that creating that space for community was the heart of all of our decision making. Obviously, having games and tables, creating platforms to assemble casts of diverse panelists and panelists who maybe just haven't had that chance of going to an in-person con to get that experience. So I think those are definitely the things that we wanted to kind of translate from the physical into the virtual. And even then, we had discussed after FOMOCon that there were still some things that there were gaps in, right? So for example, one of the big things at in-person cons are artist alleys, right? Like aisles and aisles of beautiful art, right? And that's really hard to emulate in a Discord server, right? And we have some plans for Con Zero this time around, but even then, I think the beauty of it is that we have our team, we have this motivation, and we have this drive to kind of take each and every iteration of this con and keep learning. And I know that for Con Zero, we've also been very, very attentive to any concerns and questions that folks in our server bring up, even when it comes to suggestions and things like that. We take those things very seriously because we know that all of this came from community. It's only going to get better through community.
So I think for some of us had actually gone to conventions before, and some of us hadn't. So I know for me, having had gone to PAX East a couple times, I knew definitely wanted a space for people to run games, for people to sign up and join games of all different types. And then panels, especially wanted to give a chance to people to come up with panels that maybe wouldn't normally get accepted, or have people have a chance to be on a panel who wouldn't always get a chance to be on a panel. And then people brought up things like we want community. Was it Taz who came up with movie nights? Taz came up with a lot of ideas in terms of she had an opening event where everybody would get together and do a meet and greet. She had some late night events where anybody could just join and come together. We had movie events, just basically events that you may have seen in different Discord servers as like community things, but bringing it to here. And the thing that we wanted to leave behind, and I think that this is an incredibly astute question, is we wanted to leave behind the lack of focus on diversity. Diversity was extremely, extremely important to us, especially in our panels, especially, you know, hearing people's disappointment in the lack of diversity in panels at actual conventions, like in-person conventions. So that was extremely important to us, to try to make sure that we had a full diverse cast there. And the other thing that we wanted to leave behind is a lack of commitment to social justice. Because for a lot of people, you know, like PAX East, Gen Con, like at the very top, it's about making money. Like that's unfortunately where all of these things go. And even with Big Bad Con, there was the whole thing where they wouldn't, you know, say no to Zionism and at least accept people saying like Palestinian lives matter and, you know, free Palestine and the like. And so it felt really important to create a space where we are responsible for the values that we speak about. And like even when I'm not, like, I was very heavily involved in FOMOCon, and I haven't been as involved in Convention Zero right now, just because you know, personal life and all of that. But I still want to be, at the end of the day, the person that is responsible for speaking to those things. That if someone experiences a harm, if someone, you know, wants to say, what are your values? I want to say, yes, I am a person who you can tell me what harms have happened, and we will figure out a resolution to that. And I stand by my values. And so, and I'm very lucky to have, you know, ended up with a team that shares my values. But like, we can unequivocally say, like, free Palestine, Black Lives Matters, you know, trans, you know, trans rights are human rights, all of those things, and be able to really stand by that. A respect for pronouns, a respect for chosen names, a respect for people being able to speak about their experiences that they may not generally get to speak about.
Zoup, the catharsis I just experienced in listening to you so concisely and just perfectly kind of encapsulates so much of what is problematic about the lack of racial diversity and multiculturalism that exists within like the TTRPG phase. I think you really, really put your finger on the pulse, and I really respect. Often I have seen a lot of times, and this isn't specific to the TTRPG industry or etc., but I see a lot of people who may be well-meaning, but their values primarily exist on their website or their link tree or their bio. And when it comes to the actualization of those values, when it comes to walking the walk, doing the difficult part, something that's even mildly inconvenient or uncomfortable, that is the true litmus test. Right? So many people, and I feel like that is a bar so low it's in hell, but still some people manage to trip and face plant on it. But it's very refreshing, Zoup, to hear someone so clearly speak to these issues. And that's what I think we need to have is more direct conversations. But Queon, I think you had a question.
It was also just like giving accolades to both Mia and Zoup on like their mentioning of like building community, because my big thing is people always say that they want community, but they don't really know what that looks like. And it seems like the people who are behind Con Zero, the people who started this all, really mean what they say. And I know that these are only 2 people who are part of that team. Would you be able to give us like a little peek behind the curtain of who the heads, who like the talking heads who are running, actually the goblins in a trench coat who are running Con Zero?
So Mia, you have been doing a lot more for Convention Zero. So who have you been primarily working with?
Yes. And actually, because I wanted to almost stop you earlier. Just because you've been busy, Zoup.
We're not gonna go.
We're gonna do this. No, we're gonna do this. Melody, Silvia, you're
it.
in the chat. I know you guys are. You two chat.
Yeah.
I just want to say that the reason why we all came back for this was not just because of the success of FOMOCon. It truly was the heart and the passion that you kind of inspired in all of us. Like if we are the little gears and wires in a machine, you are the electricity that runs through us. So I know you've been busy. I know that you are doing a million amazing things, but do not think that we are dismissing you or forgetting you or anything like that. Like anytime you jump back in the chat, I'm like, yes, my queen, what is it? What do you want?
That is okay. So just to, I feel that, like, I don't feel like forgotten or anything like that. I feel, and that this has been like one of the things that's so amazing, is I feel just so supported and celebrated by the team, like almost to the point where I'm like, no, I don't. But there's definitely no question.
You are the electricity that runs.
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Worldy Talks, an active celebration of friendship.
An active celebration, a healing moment. It's great.
Beautiful. That is, and it's just, we love authenticity on this channel, and you two both kind of like use that. I want to stay in the conversation about diversity a bit, because I think that there's like a lot of meat to pick on these bones. And Mia, I'd like to get your perspective on this in particular. So one of the biggest, I think, issues that we face right now is casting, right? It is such a huge component of what is seen, what is conceptualized by like our collective consciousness as, you know, like the industry. When we see faces on the advertisements and when we see them on the announcements for like larger TTRPG studios, like these are big things. And we have seen, I'm going to describe a degradation in what was once like a community commitment to diverse tables, you know? And when it comes to navigating diversity within the space, I kind of want to flip that perspective as a person of color, right? Navigating casting. When you are in conversation with channels or with whomever, what are the green flags for you? And what are the red flags for you? And we'll start with Mia, and then we'll kick it over to Zoup.
That's a good question. So I've only technically been in the space for about a year, and I still feel new every single day. But for me, the greenest flags, because you know every week or every other week there's some kind of casting call, right? For me, applying to those things, especially new, it was sort of that tricky space of like, do I just go for it, you know, for the opportunity? Is this a project that I want to work on? Are these people that I want to work on? And in the beginning, for me, it was sort of like, I have to take that chance to find out, right? And what I found was that after the fact, like after the recording, after the stream or whatever it was, the greenest flag was, did these people stay in contact with me after the fact? Like, was I just there to fill a seat? You did we become buds on socials? Are you interested in my work? Those are the types of behaviors and things that I sort of look for. Whenever I look at someone who I'm like, do I consider you a friend? Do I consider you an ally? So it's usually that, like, hey, did we actually build like a relationship out of this? Is what I look for.
That's so inspiring.
Beautiful.
The
Oh, that's
you
good.
describing you taking the leap and the chance, I think, is infinitely relatable. And I just very quickly before we kick it on over to Zoup, want to say, if you are in the audience and you just heard what Mia said, and you have been on the precipice, right? Like, this is an example of someone who took that leap. Right. And Mia isn't saying it wasn't scary or that it was easy necessarily, but like, look at what happened on the other side of this. This is now someone who's like actively engaging in an artistic medium that they enjoy and having that kind of, and that's super special. So if you are out there and you're just waiting for that little push, let us give you that little, if
you need a sign, this is it.
Yes, 100%. Make the jump. Now,
so beautiful.
Zoup, I will pitch you the same question. What are your green flags when you are approached by a channel or a company? And what are the red flags? What are the things that make you want to run for the hills?
So, especially in terms of diversity, I will say, like, for the first 3 years, I was generally the only person of color on whichever cast that I was in. And, when you first enter and you don't have like a place of safety to work from, like, it's very much you take what you can get. And I'm really thankful to the people in the space as I grew out who I know in the space. I'm so thankful to the people who spoke out, like calling for diversity and like making me realize, oh, this is something that I can ask for, and also letting me know, like I had a very come to my God of choice moment of like, I can't be the only diversity in the cast. Like I owe, that much to my other people of color, my other diversity. And so some of the things that I think I've learned is you need to, as like a producer or as a director of a channel, or a production company, you need to build a certain amount of community trust in your efforts. Because the thing is, like, when we were casting for the panels for FOMOCon, we were like, okay, we want there to be half BIPOC in each of the panels. The problem with that became that then we had like 1 or 2 BIPOC people in like 3 or 4 panels to make sure that we could reach that diversity quota. And it became very difficult to, you don't want it to be a quota. You don't want someone to be there just to fill that seat. And so it became very important. Like, if we have, you look at your full panel, like your full group of panels, and, overall, there is representation of color, gender, whichever marker that you choose to do. If you do end up with one panel that is homogeneous, as long as like your entirety is, well balanced, it becomes, then people don't have to question. Like, I think I trust people to say, like, in general, this group has decided to have to really work towards diversity. So if this one panel doesn't have the diversity I want to see, maybe it's because nobody came forward that wanted to be on the panel. And I hope that what that says to that person is you should step forward and you know, be on that panel next time. But I think it requires a certain amount. It requires an ongoing commitment. And then when you have that ongoing commitment and you demonstrate it time and time again, then, you know, if sometimes you are not seeing like the full diversity, you can understand that, okay, it's, you know, it's because we're not saying like this person is just a stand-in and this person is a token. We're looking at the whole thing. And so groups that regularly that you can go in and you can look at like their past works and you can see a good diversity on their like the people who are in charge there, diversity in their actual shows, that is a green flag. And I definitely find a red flag to be the I have had a couple things where I've said like, you know, I want this to be a diverse, I want to be on this project only if there's a diverse cast, and had people say like, oh, well, we don't see color, like we don't consider that. And I'm like, okay, but you need to, because I mean, this is true in all spaces. Like, we need to increase the population, like in our group. We need to bring more. The diversity that we have invites more diversity. I think that there are people who want to be in the AP space and they're afraid that they're not going to be able to be in the AP space because they look a certain way. And I think that there are people who are also like, I'm very loud about being Indian and having an Indian background, because I did grow up in mostly white spaces, like in Metro West Boston. All those suburbs are mostly white, right? So I've had to hold on to my existence as like a Desi woman of color, like pretty strongly. So I can come to a table, and every time I come to a table, my character, if she's human, or she, he, they, if they're human, they're, you know, darker colored skin. If this world doesn't have India in it, doesn't matter. There's still the name is always Desi, and the look is always Desi, as long as, you know, when I play like a Zafara from Neopets, that's different. But and so I have no problem making that loud. But I have spoken to people who were like, I forget who I was talking to, but they were like, you know, for a long time I didn't realize I could play a black character. And I was like, my friend, like, I want you to be able to do that. Like, you know, I want you to be able to see yourself in your character. And so I think every time we can do that, we can show and demonstrate that, like, people of varied diversities can come in. I hope that it gives other people the idea that they can do the same.
I think you just touched on a brilliant piece that I think is so important. A million brilliant pieces, but of the power of storytelling to generate empathy in a way that is kind of more difficult to lay out. I think that it is easier sometimes for people to get that kind of experience or to be able to see outside of their lens if they have like a framework through which to do that. And sometimes that's storytelling, and it's very much like putting a pill in the cheese that you give to your dog to like help them. It's very, very that energy. But one of the things that you discussed that really stood out to me was that piece about community trust in particular, and how that is established, and more than that, how it's earned, right? How it is not something that is gifted or you are entitled to, but is something that is earned by you doing the work over a long point of time. And one of the things that I feel like is a big, and this is a cheat code. If you are in the chat or watching the VOD for this and you're interested in kind of diversifying your space and you're not sure where to start, this is something I need you to consider, is that like your diversity effort cannot end and begin at inclusion, right? Like it cannot end and begin with you just casting the occasional brown person, because that's taking a human being and turning them into keys that you're jingling in front of your audience because you look at my values. Look at this.
Hey, I have this person. I did the thing, guys. I did it,
guys.
It doesn't matter if after casting, after that, just how Mia was saying, if we don't have a connection or anything like that, if I just became a number to you, you're doing this whole community thing wrong. That is not how you build community. That's not how you be a part of a community.
Yeah, I think
that's a responsibility to take. Go ahead, Tim.
Exactly.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think that that is one thing that if you are of the majority and you get to share a table, you are lucky enough to get to share a table with people with other stories. One of the best things that you can do is like hear those stories and hear that, like, in your mind be like, oh, that is like the way that they're playing their character is telling me, is letting me experience an experience that I haven't had in my own life. So like if I'm playing in a table and I'm saying, okay, Purvi Patel lives with her aunt and uncle, and it's her Mosi and her Mosaji, and that, then you if you're white, you can sit at that table and be like, oh, okay, like I'm experiencing a thing where, first of all, there is that family unit thing that's going on that goes beyond just like a mom, dad, and a kid, and also like other people have other words that they use to refer to their aunt and uncle, and that's just like the smallest example. But or like when we bring in foods that aren't normally, like if I say, yeah, she brought like some matar paneer and roti to eat, and just like give you another thing. Like I really love, that's like one of the things I love about Transplanar, is like the food is so diverse.
Yeah, Connie puts in a lot of work when it comes to everything that they build out for that. So love that so much.
I think that what we're all speaking to is the necessity of, again, not ending and beginning at inclusion, but you need to create an environment like where people of color would want to be, right? Where you have the kind of cultural infrastructure to not just bring in creators of color, have them star in something, and then that is the end of the beginning. Because I want to really emphasize that, like, intentional or not, right? Like intent separate, that is tokenism. You may not like be doing it with that word operating in your mind as you're taking the action, but when you take a talented creator of color, right, to fill a quota, to make some kind of like mark, and that is the extent through which you interact with that creator, like that's not a respectful way to be dealing with marginalized creators. So I would implore anybody who is a community manager, I think that the advice that Zoup here has given is a brilliant in terms of building the type of environment that a person of color would want to be in naturally and organically after interacting with you. And that, I think, again, like oftentimes, let's be real. Let's get, you know what? Let me get comfortable. Let me just put my do-rag on. Let me get real.
Put
Because
the wig
so
back in the
often-
closet, Shirley.
No, like wig on. I got my bob with the bangs right
Not
now
the
because I'm just like,
bang.
y'all need to listen.
Oh.
But no, it is so often like when we do these actual plays, like if you're an actual play actor, I'm going to guess, particularly in the industry, in that if you are paid, that it's often going to be the minority of the time for most shows that I know of. Maybe everybody else is making bank and I just have been on a network like, but I don't
raised
think
not to
that
talk
is the
about
industry
finances.
standard right now, right? And so by that measure, you have talented creators of color who are gifting you not only their talents, but their time, right? For 3-4 hours at a time. And I think the best thing that you can do as a baseline to reciprocate that is at least have the fundamental like cultural infrastructure so to where they would want to be there, right? Like if I go to your Discord and it like there is no diversity and I am now not only the only person of color in this cast but in this goddamn Discord right now, that's problematic. I would say consider your life choices at that point if that is the instance that happened. And this is something that requires work. And I really appreciate, like, I think Zoup and Mia, I'm curious if either of you have anything along the same line. If you could give a piece of advice or something actionable to the theoretical person in chat right now who's like, fuck, God, you know, maybe I like tokenize somebody. I feel like shit, just the white guilt just throbbing right now. Give them like something actionable to sink their teeth into.
You want to go first, Mia?
Oh gosh. That's a big question. I think the main thing for me is that if you are to cast me, if you are to put me on some production, right? I think truly it is get to know me. Look at my past work. If you ask me at your table, you want me there for a specific reason. And that way I know it's not just because I'm femme, it's not just because I'm queer, it's not just because I'm brown, that you want me, Mia, the person there. And to do that takes intentional work, meaning before you just send out some kind of cold invite, like take a look at their most recent work, whatever project that they're working on. Ask around, like who knows, you might have a mutual with that person that can kind of like give you pointers or advice. And I think it's definitely one of those things in that like approach me like a person first, approach me like a human that you want to be in community with, versus like here's the headshot that you want on the Instagram post at the end of the day.
I don't know that I necessarily have an answer to the specific question you asked, but I wanted to put out one other point, which is that diversity does extend beyond. When I talk about diversity, I'm not just talking about skin color, but before you can talk about the other diversity, first, because there's diversity of experience, and then there is diversity of melanation and skin color. And what you have to understand, you need both, but what you have to understand is that Black people especially have been marginalized in the community as a whole. So you have to understand that that yes, you have folks that do have diverse experiences, but you need that diversity in image as well, because somebody of color carries that with them
Mm,
all the time, and
mm,
it is very visible to everybody else. It is one of those things that you can't hide.
mm,
And um a lot of times, like, even when you have a diversity of experience, like, maybe you grew up speaking another language that's not English, or maybe you grew up in a different country, or maybe um there's a lot of different ways, like maybe you grew up disabled in some way. There's a lot of different diversity of experience, but people also need to remember that there is that visual thing, and that is something that people of color, and especially Black people, carry all the time. And I forget who it was, and I am forgetting the words that they used, but he said like that there are those different kinds of diversity. There's like the diversity of appearance, and then there is also like the diversity of experience, and we need to remember to
mm,
do both. And if you can embrace the like very visual diversity,
mm,
I think that leads you to chances to embrace experiential diversity as well. Because I think a lot of times when people have experiential diversity, and they see somebody who has had like the very visual experience of being not white, they might be more willing to share those other experiences too, that they might hide to fit in otherwise. So it I think having that diversity of skin color helps you have the other diversities that you want to have, which are worth talking about as well.
Right. I love that. I saw in the chat a while ago, Taz mentioned that one of their favorite cons was the round table that you all had about not tokenizing people and their cultures and everything like that. So, kind of going to touch back on Con Zero just a little bit, right? Are there any panels like the tokenization panel that you guys had? Are there any of those that are making a return this time around? Are there anything that you're looking forward to specifically that's going to be coming back this time?
Mia, that's all you.
Yes, so happy that you've asked that. We're actually right now in the process of finalizing all of our submissions and getting everything scheduled and casted.
I love
But
that.
still, a lot of our past staff, they are going to PAX. We love you, we miss you. But we are still making sure to still put forward that effort and energy into making sure that we do have diverse panels. We're making sure that we have the people with the right tools, experiences, backgrounds to speak at those platforms. So as we're still sort of figuring out the schedule, which will be live on Monday, Tuesday, keep an eye out for that. That's definitely something that we're going to be, that's like the priority. Absolutely.
Love that.
Really quickly, gang, I want to, something profound happened to me. I had this kind of
Oh, Lord.
really deep experience, and listening to Zoup in particular kind of so poignantly describe something that I feel like, even as somebody who's been such a vocal advocate for racial diversity in the TTRPG space, that I've struggled to engage with the community on conversationally. And in specific, I'm referring to you pointing out anti-Blackness, right? That there is racism, right, which affects all people of color, right? Like particularly in this country to some degree, if you are anything that is not alabaster, you are apt to face problems. That is the reality that we live in. We need to traffic in reality. And anti-blackness is its own thing. And I have to say, Zoup, like, it was really profound. Listen, like, I am a Black man from Minneapolis, Minnesota, right? Like, I come from working for like Governor Walz, from like being in a Black community famously known for its marginalization. And I really struggled with specific, because I'm like, y'all can't handle this piece, right? The more generalized racism, which everybody knows about, right? Like, the anti-blackness feels like a 102 like course or something to that degree. And I literally have never heard anybody, Black or otherwise, speak to anti-blackness in this community. I really, really genuinely appreciate that, because you woke something up in me to where I'm like, this is something that is worth talking about, and it's something that is worth putting out. And I'll keep it real. Queon and I have talked, like, there are difficulties that Black creators face in this community that is specific to the Black experience. And it was a very profound moment. I'd be remiss if I let it pass, because you really did inspire and encourage me to begin including that in my advocacy. Like, as I have conversations and as I am trying to push this community to be better, like, I really appreciate it. That was very, very, very proud.
I'm glad.
So good. Queon, did you have another question you wanted to ask?
Oh yeah, I got a lot more questions, but more importantly,
We can rapid fire them.
Well, no, it's not even that. I have questions, but our Ko-Fi supporters also have questions, and their questions come a little bit before. So this is going to be a shameless plug. If you would like to ask our guests or any future guests about any topics or anything that they have to go about, please join our Ko-Fi. That way you can actually get your questions asked and answered. So a lot of these may not be Con Zero specifically. Couple of them are. But first, do you have any tips for somebody specifically trying to organize a large-scale TTRPG event online? Because I know doing it online is a lot harder than doing it in person, even though, like, you don't have to deal with all of the space and you don't have to deal with vendors and anything like that. But getting people together to actually put their time in, because from everything you guys have said, this is a labor of love, right? So this being a labor of love, you're putting that effort into it. Just share any insights you have from last year's con or from this year's con that you're looking forward to.
So I'm going to let Mia speak to that. But first, I want to say that, like, the biggest thing is to have an amazing team. Find a team that is willing to put their love and their support in. And I don't think we had ever, like, I want to step back to a question a long time ago. So right now, the quote unquote board is Shadow, Silvia, myself, Mia, Melody, Panda, Rage Panda Pajamas, and Taz. And that is the group that has traveled from FOMOCon to Convention Zero. But beyond that, we have, like, a huge number of supporters, including we had Jen Burb. They've just been more busy right now, and they're going to be in Japan, I think, during con season. We've had Amon has done a huge amount, especially in terms of, like, graphics and giving us ways to communicate. And there are so many more people who have been a part of it, and, like, we encourage people who go to the convention and enjoy the convention and have something to add to it to please join us, because more people, like, more perspectives, we can do more stuff. And I will say, the one thing I will laud myself for is being so excited about the ideas that all of my co-chairs have. Like, I do think that part of it is, like, because, at the beginning, people would be like, I don't want to step on anybody's toes, and I'm like, do it. You are doing amazing.
Stomp them toes.
And or like, I hope I didn't mess anything up. No, what you did was amazing, and you just took us like 10 steps beyond where we were. And so like, really, like, be a cheerleader for your team.
I really love that, because it just sounds like you the space of everybody who is behind ConZero is just uplifting each other, where it's not one person trying to pull everybody down. It's uplifting each and every single person around you to make something great for everyone. Beautiful. Mia, you still in the hot seat though, babe.
Oh
Sorry.
God, I guess if you were to do a large scale event like this, I don't know. I honestly, every other day, I feel like I'm scrambling. And then the people who bring me out from the ashes is just my team. So I think, without getting too much into logistics, it's a lot of research, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of energy. And it's also kind of like, hey, like, I'm slacking right now. I need someone to kind of pick up the pace so that I can rest. And we're very, very good at that. I also think to go into it being very humble. There are so many things that I've learned from last time that I'm still learning now, that I'm amazed at the people that we are working with right now. Zoup, you mentioned Amon. We've been getting beautiful help from Jonas Tinsincere. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, Jonas, and if you're watching. And we even worked with the amazing Dungeon Maestro. Amazing. And it really is, to anyone who would be interested currently right now, ConZero is free, will always be free. And at this time right now, it is through the work of our blood, sweat, and tears. So as long as you know that going into it, and you have the passion, you have the drive, and you have the people with you, you can get it done.
And Convention Zero is very much an opt-in system. Like, if this is something that gets you excited, you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Silvia, you can reach out to Mia, you can reach out to Taz or Panda. Like, you can reach out to any of us and say, listen, I'm excited to get on the team. But like, once you're on the team, everybody who has been doing stuff has been because they have decided, like, I want to contribute in this way. So it's very much like an opt-in system.
Beautiful.
I love that you allow people to bring what they're passionate about, and only what they're passionate about. I think that's beautiful.
With that, this is me coming out from the trenches of my deep dives in on our guests here, because Mia did not mention this, but Mia is a really great layout and design artist, as well as like a character artist as well, and all that good stuff. So I have to ask, because I also am a graphic design nerd, did you create the logo for ConZero, or was that somebody else a part of the team?
I did create it. But of course, with the wonderful help and feedback and love from the team. Originally, we were gonna go with honestly, looking at it now, almost very similar Roll D5 colors. So thank you, Zoup. I'm glad we did. I'm literally just realizing.
Lawsuit.
I know. Yeah. Sue us. And we went with a teal, green, and orange because those are Zoup's favorite colors, and we were like, oh yes, easiest change. Yeah. So yeah, I did create that. And thankfully, Amon, Jonas, love. Panda, oh my God, Ross, amazing. I didn't have to do a lot of the graphics and website setup this time around, which really allowed me to kind of tap into my other administrative skills and help Silvia and Melody and the rest of the team kind of get this thing on tracks. But yeah, that's that was originally my foundational position in FOMOCon. I messaged you and I was like, "Hey, so I do some graphic design things and illustration things for this Patreon. Like, I can help you with this if you want." And then months later, I'm the boss of the chair. Like, "Oh my god, everything's on fire!" Like, just yeah.
Oh, I'm running the show now.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. I love that it seems like you get in where you fit in, and it's the same thing over here with Roll D5. You give what you can, and when you can't give, you don't. So it's great to see that there was a possibility for you to fill bigger shoes, even if it was like, oh, this might be a little terrifying, but I got it. Because you have.
And chat, you heard them. They are looking for support. They're looking for collaboration. And honestly, I would say, and this is me like Olivia Pope in this in my brain, but if you are somebody who does want to do freelancing in something or has a passion that you do want to explore outside of maybe just doing it privately, this is such a brilliant opportunity. You get to volunteer your time and contribute to something meaningful, something that isn't ran by some fucking billionaire or some mega corporation that is made by like actual human beings. I think this is the perfect testing ground. Again, I'm like making this call to action for folks who are on like the precipice, who like want to join in, who want to take things to that next step. And I think you said it earlier, Zoup, that like essentially that representation begets more representation. People need to see themselves, like famously, like the way that I am sitting here right now is because I saw Abria in a Vampire the Masquerade thumbnail on YouTube and was like, what the fuck? And that was my God, what was it? Whatever the by night, I think it's New York by night. I could be wrong, but like
it is.
It took that, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then I saw, and I was like, "Wait, this is people like improv story. You can just write a character, and then just improv a story with your friends." Yeah. I'm like, no, this is cheating. This is too good to be true. I'm like, there's probably some weird Nexium cult stuff that I'm not picking up on. There's something somewhere that's not lining up. It's too good to be true. But then like after all that time later, so I do think that representation is incredibly key. And as we've discussed tonight, there is a right way and wrong way to do that.
Right. So go ahead, Zoup.
Oh, the other thing I was just going to mention is that right now, FOMOCon and Con Zero has been happening during big conventions for people who can't go to conventions. I have not pitched this to the board yet, but I want to do one in February.
That's 3 months from now.
That is not... That is not during a convention. So especially to help convention goers, the people who do go to conventions can also so that there is not to help bridge that gap between convention goers and non-convention goers, to have one that is not at a specific time that a lot of people are at a convention, so that there can be that merging of community.
We will talk off screen. But the way I have excess energy, I would love to throw into this. I've already brained like the brain. It runs. The cogs in my brain are absolutely running.
That's great.
Do we have more Ko-Fi questions, Kia?
We actually do. Those last two questions that we had came from Dennis. These
Dennis,
other two
what up?
Come
Minnesota?
from
but I want to do one
in person in Con Zero and also Roll D5, Silvia. And this kind of like ties into what Aetherius had just mentioned, because they mentioned Abria Iyengar, right? Who do the two of you hope to attract to be at Con Zero? What is your dream panel or your dream presenter?
You got one, Mia?
Blame Silvia.
I know, right? Everyone.
You GIF all of Mia's reactions from like the last 2 minutes solid. Will you make GIFs of all of those faces, please?
No,
I know you're in chat, and I know you're doing tech. I just want to flag that. So good.
Thank you.
Somebody clip that.
Oh my gosh, there are too many cool people. I have this like not an actual Excel sheet, but a sheet in my brain where I'm like, I need to somehow finagle my way into a table with this person just to say that I've met them. But a lot of the types of people, I suppose, I'm really only interested in the indie peoples. Sorry to those and above. I can't. There's too many people in my brain. So Zoup, if you have one, please share.
Okay, so I do not, and I'm gonna sound like really pompous right now.
Go
but
off.
I
Do
don't.
it.
I don't want to like mention. I don't want to like put people into buckets of like
Yeah.
of
Mhm.
like this is what I am striving for. Like
Mhm.
anybody, I want this to reach anybody who it does something for. Like for whom it is exciting to get to talk to people, even if they are the people that you talk to online every day, like still getting to like have a designated time to come together to meet people, to swap war stories and all of that, the stuff that we enjoy in an in-person convention. But for even the people who can't make it. And so
Mm.
I really, and I want it to reach, I mean, right now it's very indie scene
Right.
heavy. But I wouldn't mind if it goes out and like, reaches some of the people in the D&D scene, or reaches some of the people in other scenes. I'm not sure what else counts at the D&D level, but
Yeah.
I want it. I just really want the people for whom it does something good for it to reach them.
One of the things that I think I've seen the most around Con Zero, FOMOCon, and I think this is something that probably the people on the board of it have realized and like taken root with, but I don't think many people on the outsides or like even the attendees have like picked up on this. FOMOCon / Con Zero specifically is like the accessibility con. If you have social anxiety, if you don't have the means to go to a physical con, if you don't have the possibility of, this is the con to go to where you can still interact with your community. You don't have to worry about missing out. You don't have to feel like you're on the outskirts of something that you love and the people that you love to be around. So this is where you can be, and this is the community that you can have. And because it's free, it doesn't cost you anything. The only thing that you have is adding your time. And it doesn't even feel like you're adding your time because you're here hanging out with your friends, you're meeting new people, you're making connections, and you're building and adding to this beautiful community that they have already started to build. And I think that has been my biggest thing that I've loved the most about this, because going to cons is not cheap. Going to cons is a lot, is taxing mentally. But one thing about FOMOCon, like I keep saying FOMOCon because I had FOMOCon of FOMOCon during Gen Con. And I was like, I wanted to be a part of all of everything that was going on. But the biggest part of like Con Zero is even the people who are able to go to these cons want to be a part of Con Zero. So what you guys have done here, what you guys have brought together is so beautiful. And I, from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Truly. Can't make me feel emotions.
I'm so sorry.
It is a beautiful thing. What I feel like, Queon, you just touched on, and I really, when you brought up the accessibility point, I was like, that is such a poignant point, because like if you have sensory issues, if you have any kind of health issues that would preclude you from traveling for some amount of time, like this is a way for you to engage and still have that con experience in the way that folks who don't have that. But beyond that, what I feel like a part of the thesis statement is for these events, both FOMO and Con Zero, is that your socioeconomic reality should not gatekeep you from community. Your wallet, your amount of money you make, any of that should not be the determining factor of if you get to have that con experience that we all know. So much so that we are like, the con hangover is real. We already know what's up. If you know, you know. That week after, you're just like, damn, I just saw all the homies. Now I'm fucking back to,
I think that's another great thing
it's real
about Con Zero is that the people and the connections that you make, you can talk to them the direct next day and you're like, I don't feel like I'm missing the people that I just met. Like, that's one thing from every con is like, I immediately miss my community once I'm not there because it feels like it's taken away from me. Con Zero puts the community at your fingertips. So you don't have to go far for it. You have the people around you. And I'm sorry, I get emotional about this because this hits home for me because it's not just for the people who can go to these things. This is also for the people in the small communities who don't have the accessibility to go to these places where it's an hour and a half going to the nearest airport. And even then you have to go from another airport to another airport to another airport, which all of those connections and all that connecting flights adds so much to the expense of it. And right now, especially with everything going on in the world, people are hoarding what little bit of money that they can to survive. And Con Zero is just giving people the space and the opportunity to relish in their community and not feel guilty for taking food away from themselves. So I really love what you all have created and loved so much what we've got going here. I can go on and on and on about this, and I can sing your praises from the sweet rivers of St. Lucia.
There is one thing that you mentioned that I want to draw back to, which is the sensory. Having too much sensory overload and especially like learning disabilities or anything where this can all be overwhelming. I want to let you know that, you know, as we do iterations, we are trying to make it more and more accessible to people who these things can be very overwhelming for, or it's hard to navigate. Right now, like, we know that Discord is not always the easiest thing to navigate. We did get feedback from FOMOCon that people were having trouble finding certain things. And so every convention, at the end, we're going to ask your feedback. We love your feedback, and we want to put that into practice to make it as accessible as possible for you.
Beautiful. Oh my God. I can sit here and gush. But I think we are close to the end of our time together. Typically,
Queon, at the buzzer, do you mind if I sneak in a last question for our fabulous guest?
Oh, I was about to give them just like the funny haha question, but yeah, go ahead if you got something for them.
It's not like a serious one, but it is one that I'm fascinated to see, because one of the parts of this process, this is a little selfish because I love character writing and I love hearing about other people and how they approach characters. Who is a fictional character in any form of media that you would love to use as inspiration for a character in an actual play but haven't used yet?
I'm not answering this one, Aetherius.
We'll see. We'll talk about that after we hear about our guests.
Okay, I have one while Mia thinks. Okay. I think from Indian epics, there are like specifically Hindu epics. So there's the Ramayana, there's the the Gita, which is part of the whole Pandavas story, and I think finding a way to bring the important parts of those stories into an actual play would be a dream come true.
Manifesting, speaking it into. I'm sorry. How hard Mia is thinking is my
babes. I'm so sorry.
Don't look at me. Zoup, keep talking.
have
Are
ever
you
seen
scrolling
somebody
the internet right now,
visually
Mia?
contemplate something so good.
Oh
Are you
my
just
God.
scrolling like, okay,
In my
okay,
brain, I am. Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't. I'm very bad at.
Okay, let me frame it to just one of them. I think just a fictional character is better than choose the ultimate best ever for,
just one that you think would be fun.
One that I think would be fun. I think I would love to create, or what would give me inspiration. I'm thinking of it because I recently rewatched it. Princess Mononoke. So, San. Um, yeah. So, uh, definitely a character from her. I've always loved Peter Pan mythology, so something from that would be really great. But honestly, I get so inspired watching other APs, because for me, the fun of it for me, I have a lot of silly voices and I love doing silly voices. So sometimes I will just get inspired by someone's performance, where a certain inflection or even like a turn of phrase that they use, that I'm like, I'm gonna steal that and I'm gonna make it its own new thing. But that's usually my process.
That's good. Now, before I get put on the hot seat here, Aetherius, you're up. Answer your own question first. You ain't getting me.
I'm going to say Marjorie Tyrell is the character that I would like to. And if you're unfamiliar with Game of Thrones, she's played by, God, what is her name? I forget the name of the actress. But it is a character that is a very specific type of cunning. It's not a cold sociopathic cunning, a la say like Cersei Lannister, but it is this like emotional intelligence that like it's somebody who was kind of born to play the game that they were in. And so yeah, I could go into a bunch of reasons why, but I really wanted to explore that particular character archetype.
Okay.
Nat'ly Dormer. That's right. Yes.
Remember how I said I get scared easily on? That just scared the boots off of me.
I know. We're going to on. You prep up the HR meeting. I'm sorry. Scared Queon again.
It's fine. It's great. We'll deal with it one day. Kind of going in the same vein of where Mia went with their answer. For everybody who knows me and knows my comfort character is either messy or a whore. So I have
just
always. Hey,
that was right there. I'm not going to take the bait. I'm going to be an adult. Please continue.
Proud of you. A character that I have always wanted to play that encompasses both of these things is Hal from Hal's Moving Castle. I have always wanted to play a character centered around the way that he thinks and the way that he moves. And I think that just leads to so much diversity in where you can take it.
Dormer. That's right. Yes.
To this day, I'm waiting for me to pull that character out of my back pocket.
Hey, somebody cast us in something, the four of us, where we can just like live out this dream the way.
Yes.
Somebody make it happen. Truly, to have all these different people, like all these different character archetypes in like one story.
Did you forget we have a channel?
Oh, that's right. We wait until On is sleeping and we just take the keys to the channel and fucking book it, dude. We're out of here.
The change you want to see in the world.
No, she is just like, it's fine. On is she's a cool mom. If we ever need the van to go anywhere, she gives us the keys. We love On.
We may have to bribe them a little bit, but we'll get them sooner or later. But honestly, the question I had was just like a little funny, haha. I don't think I have a better ending question than what Aetherius just gave us. So, with that, everybody, Zoup, Mia, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a lovely, lovely, amazing time. And one last thing, for anybody who is interested in still joining Con Zero, if anybody wants to become a part, be a volunteer, how can they do it?
Yeah, so we with Con Zero, with this with fall version coming up, Rage Panda Pajamas and Ross from Studio Kashina did a lovely job revamping our website. So you can go to convention0.carrd.co. Again, that is convention0.carrd.co. You can find all the information that you need. That's also where you'll find the invite link to the Discord server. And we also have a nice contact form because we got that premium account going. Thank you, Panda. Where you can actually reach out to us and let us know, like, hey, what is it that you want to contribute? And again, we are literally accepting anything. We are accepting anything. I am looking at you through the screen, finger guns pointed. Yeah, come hang out with us. We're cool and fun.
Okay, if we had a switchboard, I would have given you full screen right there. Note to self next time. Yeah. No, truly, this has been fantastic. What a thought-provoking conversation. I think that we touched on so many important topics tonight. I really, really think, again, the fact that there is this accessibility in terms of literal ability, right, versus disability, and then in terms of, again, that socioeconomic piece. The idea that just because you cannot afford, particularly in a time when so many of us are struggling to fly across the country, shouldn't preclude you from having this kind of experience and from being able to bond with friends, meet new friends, celebrate this love that we all have for this hobby. And I think it is something really special. And there is this altruistic kind of beating heart to this that is very evident. I think, and hearing you all speak about this, there is this earnest sincerity that I feel like is such a perfect example of what I love about the Indie TTRPG scene and the people that comprise of it. You guys you're some of the best of us for doing this for folks, and so we appreciate
it's amazing.
That.
Really quickly, would love to give a shout out to Batty Bards. Thank you so much for the raid.
Check out World Replica.
You have just come into the end of our interview with Zoup and Mia from Convention Zero. So if there's anybody from Batty Bards in your community who is unable to make it out to PAX U for whatever reason, please feel free. Jump into Con Zero. It's an amazing time. It's a great time to meet more people in the space and enjoy the community that we all love and love to see grow. Other than that,
sorry, Queon. Housekeeping really quickly. If you are going to PAX Unplugged, Roll D5 is going to be there, baby. We will be interviewing people on the floor, and I have heard a tiny little rumor that we may or may not have temporary tattoos with Roll D5 on them. So if you see on at the con, make sure you respect all of their rules as posted to their threads, but maybe they'll have goodies. Maybe they'll have treats for you. So please check us out at Roll D5. I'll be there. Queon will be there. I would love 3 dimensions.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Crazy.
Also, since we're plugging our things now, I'm also going to be running games at PAX U. So if you are looking for that, I'll be dropping all of that information on my Instagram, and also in the Roll D5 Discord. So if you are not in our Discord, you are missing out. You're missing out on all of the fun talks we have. We have questions of the days. We have a lot of interesting random things. I had questions about, do you think broccoli is better than cauliflower? Was it cauliflower? I think, or asparagus, one of the two. I had a whole conversation about fruits the other day. I'm the random question person. Sorry, guys. Celery. But yes, that is going to be this episode of Roadie Talks. Again, thank you everybody for coming out. Please stick around. We're going to be raiding into Smoking Glue Guns. It is their affiliate anniversary. So please go give them all the love and give Whitney all of the hearts and go bombard them with everything that you have had here today. Again, thank you, Zoup. Thank you, Mia. Thank you, Aetherius, my amazing co-hosts. And thank you, On Tech.
Yes.
And thank you, Queon.
Oh,
thank you, guys.